Part 2. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 11. The screen continues to play. After Kashiwamura was instantly killed by Aizen, Inu Orium and her party also arrived one after another. However, under the terrifying spiritual pressure of Ikegenmaru, everyone collapsed to the ground, and then Aizen began to slowly tell the story of the layout. After describing the layout, Aizen took out the Honyu from Rukia's body. "Kill her, Silver," Aizen said so calmly. Just when Ikegenmaru's Zanpakuto ability was activated, Kukaki Byakuya rescued Rukia, but the price was to resist the Jinichi sword in the chest, and Aizen and his party followed when they were about to kill Rukia and the others. Yuryuaki, Zeihao, Yukatake and others appeared and took Aizen and Ikegenmaru hostage. Looking at the Zanpakuto on his neck, Aizen couldn't help but chuckle. "Sorry, it's time." The words fell. A yellow light falling from the sky quickly enveloped Aizen. A huge gap appeared in the sky, and countless Degzu with terrifying auras rushed to squeeze out of the hole. Immediately afterwards, the remaining two yellow light pillars covered Ikegenmaru and Taisen was about to be enveloped. In everyone's surprised eyes, the three of them slowly rose into the air and flew towards the location of the black hole. Just when others wanted to intercept Aizen and others, Yamamoto explained to everyone the yellow light beam, it's an anti-membrane, and it can't be broken. "Have you fallen to the ground, Aizen?" Yukatake Jushiro looked at Aizen slowly rising in the sky. "You are too proud, Yukatake. From the beginning, no one has a foothold in heaven, including you, me, and even God." Looking down at Yukatake on the ground, Aizen took off his eyes, pushed his hair back, and then said indifferently, "But this unbearable gap period of the throne in the sky is about to end. From now on, it will be me standing in the sky. Goodbye, all the gods of death, farewell to the young man in trouble. As a human being, you are really interesting." In everyone's eyes, Aizen and the three disappeared into the black hole. "Hiss, what is that thing that just poked its head out of the black hole? Why do I feel that anyone that comes to our world will be a devastating blow?" In the world of martial arts, Guojing couldn't help but take a breath and feel cold all over. Just now, when those huge Killians poked their heads out, a terrifying sense of oppression penetrated the screen. Guojing felt frightened. For so many years in the world, Guojing, who had experienced strong winds and waves, felt fear for the first time. If I had such a monster under my command, wouldn't it be possible to rule this land soon?" In the Qin Palace, Qin Shiwan Yingzheng looked at Lan Ran and his party, who were slowly rising into the sky with a shocked expression. Through the video, he already knew that there was still more time overseas. Just recently, he was preparing to lead his troops in person. Go to Japan. It's so strong, I'm afraid even if we, the Shangxian ghosts, come together, we probably won't be able to shake one of the monsters. In the world of ghost destruction, Tong Emo looked at Jillian in the picture with lingering fear. "This Aizen is 100 times more terrifying than Tsuji Muzan." In the butterfly house, Tanjiro stared at Aizen. "Alas, it's so scary." In the world of pirates, Kizaru in the Navy headquarters looked at Killian in the video with a lewd expression. "What terrifying monsters! If all of these monsters descended on the Navy headquarters, would we be able to deal with them?" In the Navy Marshal's office, Senguo said with a solemn expression. "It's interesting for me to stand in the sky." In the New World, Doflamingo raised his eyebrows and looked at the scene with a somewhat pleased expression. Such a good calculation, and he managed to escape completely surrounded by so many captains. "And what on earth is that thing called Bengaio?" In the world of Naruto, Orochimaru looked amazed, then fell into deep thought. "Bengaio seems to be a good thing, and it can enter the king's treasure house." In the Moon World, Gilgamesh held a golden cup in his hand and looked at the scene with interest. "No matter what, you still have to escape, but that's it." In the world of Dragon Ball, Frisia has a look of disdain on his face. If it were him, he would definitely destroy the entire Soul Society. As soon as the scene turned, Aizen, who went to Hueco Mundo, began to use the Bengayo to create an Arrancar. The virtual strength of the Arrancar increased sharply, and he obtained a knife similar to the Zanpakuto. Then Aizen led himself to use the Bengayo to create the Arrancar. They became the rulers of the entire Hueco Mundo. Immediately afterwards, Aizen ordered Ulquiorra and Yami, the fourth of the 10 blades, to go to the real world to eliminate Kurosaki Ichigo. In Ulquiorra's memory, Aizen discovered the rare ability possessed by Orochimaru, and ordered Ulquiorra to capture him. Bengayo is so powerful, he can actually transform into a hollow plane and become even stronger. Shangxian number 3 hunting nest seed. I don't know if we ghosts can use it, but I also want to join Aizen-sama, the 6 fallen princesses of the upper string. Fallen princess, are you going to betray Master Wuhan, Tong Xian Er Tong Mo? What an evil thing. Who is the guy who created such a thing, Walnut? Now the Shinigami in Soul Society are in a bad situation. Originally their strength could overwhelm them, but now it seems that Hueco Mundo's strength is even better, Marshal of the Warring States period of the Naval Headquarters. Wow Lala, I really hope to have a battle with them, Whitebeard. Dad is actually excited after a long time, Phoenix Marco. Ants are still ants after all, but that's all, Uchiha Madara. That Uchiha Madara above, you look very brave, right, the 6 of 10 blades Grimjo. Broken Jade? I don't know how it compares to magic weapons, 9 heavens and 10 earths Shihao. Countless barrages passed by. In the world of death. The 13 captains gathered in the Siriti I looked at the scene in the video with solemn expressions. The strength of those hollows has become stronger after being transformed into Arrancars. Even I am not sure that I can defeat some of them. Hisugaya Tashiro looked at the Jublade in the video, and his expression became extremely solemn. Interesting, let me go and fight with them. Besides, Zaraki Kenpeka looked fanatical, and the spiritual pressure on his body filled the surroundings unbridled, and a terrifying sense of oppression arose spontaneously. Calm down, Captain Kenpeka. If you go there rashly, you may fall into Aizen's conspiracy. Next to Kenpeka, Yukatake 14 squinted his eyes. When the human woman is captured, Kurosaki Ichigo and others will definitely go to Hueco Mundo. We need to support them. This is not only their obligation, but also our obligation. We need to think about strategies to prevent Aizen from being hit. The trick. Located in the center, Yamamoto Genri Yusai Shijikuni spoke. As soon as these words came out, everyone fell silent. On the other side. Damn it, if I had been stronger and the time I spent in the virtual state longer, Inu would not have been captured. In the present world, Kurosaki Ichigo looked at the scene in the video with an angry expression. Ichigo, that's not your fault. Besides, Chadutehu consoled him. Yes, our main task now is to make a plan and go to Hueco Mundo to rescue Inu-san. Uriu Ishida pushed his eyes and judged calmly. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 12. The video continued to play. Inu Orium was captured by Ulquiorra and entered Hueco Mundo. In order to rescue Inu Orium, Kurosaki Ichigo and his party entered Hueco Mundo. When they learned of the arrival of Kurosaki Ichigo and his party, Aizen the 10 Blades were also summoned to start a meeting. Surrounded in front of a rectangular table, with Aizen as the center and Ikijin Meru Entasen Kaname on both sides. The remaining 10 blades are located in front of the table in order of ranking. There were 3 intruders, Uriu Ishida, Tadara Sadatari, and Ichigo Kurosaki. In front of the rectangular table, the image of Kurosaki Ichigo and others invading Hueco Mundo appeared on the table. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo's figure, Grimjo, the 6th among the 10 blades, stood up, his face filled with emotion. Surprised. The other 10 blades looked at Kurosaki Ichigo and others, their faces full of disdain, as if they didn't take the three of them seriously at all. Underestimating the enemy is a taboo. They were the humans who were once called traveling disasters, who broke into Soul Society with just 4 people and started a fight with the Godi 13. Putting down the cup in his hand, Aizen said lightly. 4 people, 1 more to go, where is the remaining one? A dark-skinned Arankar asked among the 10 blades. It's Inu Origim. With a smile on his lips, Aizen said calmly. Hey. Standing up, Grimjo walked towards the stairs outside the door. Where are you going, Grimjo? Glancing at Grimjo who was leaving, Aizen spoke. I'm going to kill them. Grimjo stopped, turned around and continued. The sooner you kill the bugs that fly in, the better. Lord Aizen hasn't given the order yet, go back. Besides, Dongxian at the door is about to speak. I am going to defeat them just for Aizen-sama. Grimjo looked at Taisen Kaname who spoke with an impatient look on his face. Grimjo. Aizen's voice came from behind. Grimjo turned around and replied yes. I'm glad you can act for me, but I haven't finished speaking yet. Can you return to your seat now? Aizen's calm voice came out from the head seat of the table. Staying where he was, Grimjo looked at Aizen's position and did not respond. What's wrong? Aizen's voice came again, his voice gradually became colder, and he continued. I didn't hear your answer, Grimjo Jakajak. Buzz. A weak spiritual pressure gradually began to spread. In an instant. Boom. The spiritual pressure began to become majestic and surging, and the surge began to surge in all directions. With Aizen as the center point, this terrifying spiritual pressure suddenly it began to spread instantly, completely spreading throughout the room, every corner was no exception. This is. Standing at the door, feeling the huge pressure brought by the terrifying spiritual pressure on his body, Grimjo's face changed, his dark blue eyes widened, cold sweat dripped from his forehead, and then his whole body began to he trembled involuntarily, and his legs began to bend involuntarily, until he fell to his knees on the ground. The next moment, the terrifying sense of oppression disappeared instantly. Call. 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 Sitting on his knees on the ground, Grimjo took a deep breath with fear on his face. Really? It seems you understand. Sitting in front of the table, Aizen stood up, and a faint voice came. Dear Ten Blades, as you can see, there are 3 enemies. Although we cannot underestimate the enemy, we cannot cause commotion. Everyone, please go back to your palace and act as usual. Don't be arrogant or impetuous, just go back to your position and wait for the enemy to come. No need to panic. No matter what happens, as long as you follow me, we will be invincible. Looking forward, scanning the crowd, Aizen said with a faint smile on his face. As soon as the scene came out, most people in the world widened their eyes and stiffened, and some low-level martial arts worlds were even more frightened. Although they had some understanding of Aizen's strength, it was still too strong. Bar. Ryotsu alone is enough to overwhelm Majubina? What an astonishing pressure. Anyone sitting around the table felt that their strength was not much worse than that of the Admiral of the Navy headquarters. However, Grimjo, who ranked 6th among the 10 blades, was actually crushed to the ground by Aizen with just the pressure. Got it? Navy headquarters, Sengoku couldn't help but widen his eyes and felt his whole body stiff. Although in the previous scene, a captain-level strong man was killed by Aizen with one move, but that was also because of his Zanpakuto ability, but now it's different. You can feel the terrifying pressure through the screen. With this kind of pressure, if Aizen comes to the Navy headquarters, I'm afraid not many people can stand up in front of him. Even one of the 4 emperors, the red-haired Shanks, is said to have the strongest overlord haki. His overlord haki is probably not even 1/10 of Aizen's. Hey, this is too exaggerated, so scary. The Navy headquarters Admiral Kizaru, who usually had a wretched look on his side, couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat at this moment, and his usual catchphrase came out directly this time, and it was not a joke, but a real one. Aizen was frightened by his terrifying spiritual pressure. Are the differences between characters from the same anime world that big? And with such a powerful strength, Aizen seems not to be the strongest among them, otherwise he would not pursue something like Honyu well. How terrifying would the stronger one be? When thinking of this, Kizaru was completely confused. So strong, in the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara no longer has the disdain he had before, and the expression on his face is extremely solemn. He can feel that Aizen's strength will definitely not be inferior to that of him in his heyday, and it is even possible stronger. It's a bit interesting, and the strength is pretty good. In the Marvel world, Thanos raised his eyebrows and watched the scene with interest. The strength is not bad, just barely eye-catching. Dragon Ball world, Vegeta crossed his hands and commented while looking at the video. In the Bleach world, is this Aizen's true strength? It was so terrifying, even Grimmjow was suppressed by Aizen's huge spiritual pressure. In reality, Kurosaki Ichigo, who was about to go to Hueco Mundo, looked at the scene with a horrified expression. Others may not be so clear about Grimmjow's strength, but Kurosaki Ichigo has fought against Grimmjow. In the swastika state, he was definitely no match for him. Only in the hollow state could he be able to defeat him. But now, someone was in front of him, using only spiritual pressure to defeat the powerful Grimm. It's too terrifying to be crushed by Chiao. Just the three of them went to Hueco Mundo, and I'm afraid they can't even withstand their spiritual pressure. Kurosaki-san, should we consider countermeasures or ask for help from Soul Society? On the side, Ishida Uriu pushed his glasses that were about to fall to the ground with his trembling right hand, and cold sweat broke out on his face. On the other side, in Soul Society, the 13 captains looked at Aizen in the video in unison, with solemn eyes. Eyes filled with color. Such powerful spiritual pressure, I am afraid that except for the captain, any of us who fight Aizen will probably be defeated instantly. Hisugaya Tashiro swallowed his saliva and said with a frightened expression on his face. It's not advisable to fight alone, but we have to guard against Aizen's Zanpakuto's abilities. We have to think of a complete strategy. Yukitake Jushiro coughed twice and said with a solemn expression. Don't panic, he's just a young brat. The walking stick in his hand hit the ground hard several times, and Yamamoto Genri Yusai Shijikuni spoke. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 13. In the scene, Inu Orium is used to draw away some of the captain-level combat power of Soul Society. Aizen entrusts Hueco Mundo to Ulquira and explains to everyone that Inu Orium is useless, and then leads the top 3 Blade, Wandawise, Ikijin Maru, Taisen Kename and others attack Karakura Town. In mid-air in Karakura Town, 4 huge gaps tore open in the blue sky. The figures of Aizen and his group appeared above Karakura Town. With the appearance of Aizen and his team, Soul Society and other Shinigami were also on guard. Led by Mr. Yamamoto, everyone appeared one after another. A battle was about to break out in the sky of Karakura Town. The war is about to begin, Emi Yashiro. I don't know which side can win this war, Genius Slam Dunk Master Sakuragi Hanamichi. Judging from the title, Aizen's side should win. After all, the person taking stock this time is Aizen, Edogawa Konan. Just watch, this guy Aizen will definitely be defeated, Konoha Genin Uzumaki Naruto. Come on Aizen-sama, the 6 fallen princesses of the upper string. Beat up Aizen, Mr. Yamamoto, Wang Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Interesting, is there finally a big showdown? Show your true power, Aizen Sosuke, Uchiha Madara. In the world of death, people living in Karakura town looked at the familiar city at Aizen's feet, their faces full of fear. There is no doubt that this video is likely to happen one day in the future. And such a group of powerful monsters actually want to fight above Karakura town. If they accidentally fall down in the aftermath, then how many casualties will it cause? So large-scale migration began to take place in the city called Karakura town. The screen continues to play. Yamamoto Genri Usai Shijikuni, who raised his walking stick, revealed the Zanpakuto in the walking stick. Yamamoto, who pulled out the Zanpakuto, instantly understood. Terrifying flames instantly filled the whole body, and the terrifying high temperature instantly raised the temperature in the air. Even Yukatake, Kiryu, and others behind him quickly moved away from the old man. Without the slightest hesitation, he slashed with his sword. The monstrous flames pointed directly at Aizen, and the sea of fire instantly formed a huge encirclement surrounding Aizen, Ikagenmaru, and Taisen Kaname. The terrifying flames burned raging, and the temperature could be felt through the screen. The terrifying flames burned everything inside mercilessly. Hiss, what a powerful flame! In the world of tutors, Sawada Tsunayashi took a breath of air with a look of horror. Tsunayashi still knew a little bit about flames. After all, the death energy fire on his gloves was also very powerful, but the death energy fire compared with the flames in front of me, the fire is obviously not on the same level. It's amazing. This is the first time I've seen such a terrifying flame. It would be so delicious if I could eat it. In the fairy tale world, Natsu in the guild looked at the flames on the screen with excitement. Idiot, you may not be able to eat such a powerful flame. Gray, who was naked on the side, complained. Such a powerful flame, my flame power is probably not even 1/10 of its power. In Natsu's body, Flame Dragon King Igneel looked shocked, and an idea suddenly appeared in his mind. If it had this powerful flame, could it kill Akunakia and Zeref? This kind of flame is just okay, it can barely be ranked in the strange fire list. In Dopo world, Naiwatunyan said with disdain. This old man named Yamamoto, like Kame Sennin, is a guy who doesn't look amazing but has amazing strength. In the Dragon Ball world, Klin looked shocked, then turned to look at Kame Sennin who was reading a beauty magazine on the sofa, and twitched the corner of his mouth. Kame Sennin is too sexy. As soon as the camera turned, Mr. Yamamoto put back the Zanpakuto with endless flames in his hand into its scabbard, and explained to the captains that this move could temporarily trap the enemy, making it impossible for them to escape, and asked the captains to take it first. The 10 blades are solved, and finally we have to deal with Aizen. Located in the center of the flames, Aizen looked calm, not panicking at all because of being trapped, while the outside world was led by the second blade to fight the Aaron cars. The screen kept changing, and the Shinigami began to attack the Aaron cars. As time went by, Aizen and others also successfully escaped. After the first and second blades were defeated, Aizen impatiently killed the third one with one move. The three-blade Haribal then began to fight against the Goti I-13 and the Arrancar Legion who came to support them. Aizen actually killed his companions. Did he want to deal with so many captain-level beings by himself? King Shichibukai da Flamingo. This is too much. Even Aizen would have difficulty resisting so many captain-level experts by himself. His Majesty's Shichibukai Moonlight Moria. Don't forget, those upstairs, Aizen's Zanpakuto abilities are very perverted. Pirate Blackbeard. Master Aizen is so heartless, the 6 fallen princesses of the upper string. Damn Aizen, what do you think of your companions? Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King. The weak guy will only get in the way. Universe Emperor Frisia. The scene continued to play, with Aizen facing the captains alone, with no trace of panic on his face, and always with a calm look. Just when Hiri of the Arrancar Corps couldn't help but launch an attack, Ikijinmaru killed him instantly with a single shot. The angry Hiriko activated his Zanpakuto ability and began to fight with Aizen, and Aizen was injured for the first time. However, this was still the illusion of Aizen's Kyoka Suijutsu, and Hirako was injured by Aizen's sword instead. At the critical moment, Kurosaki Ichigo, who returned from Hueco Mundo, launched an attack from behind Aizen. However, Kurosaki Ichigo's two Getsuga celestial charges did not bring any harm to Aizen, and then the virtual Ichigo was easily played by Aizen again. The remaining captains and the Arrancar Legion began to besiege Aizen. Facing many powerful captains, Aizen remained calm. It would be too naive to think that you can win with a numerical advantage. The besieged Aizen spoke calmly. Then, one by one the Arrancar Legion and the deputy captain fell under Aizen's sword. However, under the siege of other captain-level figures, Aizen was eventually killed by Hitsuga Yatashiro. Stabbed through with a knife, just when everyone thought they had defeated Aizen, an accident happened. "What are you doing?" Besides, Kurosaki Ichigo roared at everyone. Everyone was shocked and looked in the direction of Aizen, only to find that the Aizen who had just been besieged was actually Momo Hinamori, and the original Momo Hinamori had turned into Aizen. Aizen appeared on the ground without any damage, and killed two vice-captains with one blow. Faced with Hirako's question, Aizen replied calmly. "When did you get the illusion that I didn't use mirror flowers and water moon?" The angry Tashiro, Hirako Mako, and others launched an attack on Aizen. However, even though all the captains swarmed forward, they were still easily defeated by Aizen with one blow. As soon as the picture appeared, everyone in the heavens had an uproar on their faces. The reversal of this battle was beyond their imagination. The ability of Jinghua Shuiyu is too abnormal. With so many people beating one person, they are actually beating one of their own. In the low-level martial arts world, everyone's faces are filled with horror. Everyone's hearts are filled with chills regarding the terrifying ability of Aizen's Zanpakuto, which controls the five senses. In their world, this is simply invincible existence. Even if they gather all the masters in the world, I'm afraid they won't even be able to touch the corners of Aizen's clothes. I really can't think of any way to defeat Aizen. Even if he fights alone, those captains will not be his opponent. In the world of Demon Slayer, the faces of all members of the Demon Slayer Corps and even Zuzu are full of fear. This ability is too terrifying. Even seeing and hearing Haki may not have any effect on him. In the new world, Whitebeard was stunned. Just when he thought he had finally defeated Aizen, a scene appeared that he could not have imagined. This was really disappointing. It's so scary. This man is 100 times scarier than Blackbeard. Marco on the side was also sweating profusely and his whole body was stiff. Aizen Sosuke, what a terrible man. In the world of Genshin Impact, Emperor Zhongli of the Rock King raised his eyebrows. Through the looking glass, such power. In the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara stared blankly at Aizen, who was teasing everyone, and his face no longer had the arrogance it had before. Facing the terrifying power possessed by Kyoka Suijutsu and Aizen, even he might not be able to defeat him, and he might even be tricked by the other party, and end up defeated miserably. Interesting, but this ability may not have much effect on mental power. In the Dochi continent, the Soul Emperor commented casually. In the Death God world, Aizen's ability is so terrifying. So many people surrounded him, but they didn't pose much of a threat to him. In Siritai, a drop of cold sweat left on Yukatake Jutsuro's forehead. "I will actually kill Dizzy in the future." Tashiro on the side stared blankly at the scene of Hinamori Momo being stabbed through. "It seems that I can only rely on Ichigo Kurosaki, who has never seen Aizen Kyoka Suijutsu." Komamura Zyuochen frowned and said a little heavily. Even Captain Yamamoto narrowed his eyes slightly and fell into deep thought. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 14. In the picture, just when Kurosaki Ichigo was about to rush towards Aizen. Boom! A towering pillar of fire rose into the sky, and a figure holding a Zanpakuto appeared in the fiery red flames. Watching Aizen calmly, Yamamoto Genri Usai Shijikuni stepped closer to Aizen holding a Zanpakuto wrapped in flames. Call out. The Zanpakuto wrapped in flames was swung out, but Aizen appeared behind Yamamoto, and then a Zanpakuto pierced Yamamoto's body. Yamamoto, who was just injured, showed a smile, and then grabbed Aizen's right hand with his left hand. It is true that Kyoka Suijutsu can hypnotize people's five senses. The vision seen with the eyes and the touch felt by the skin can be hypnotized, but the perception of spiritual pressure emitted by the Zanpakuto cannot be hypnotized. Yamamoto's calm words came out, and the smile on Aizen's face gradually disappeared. The next moment. Boom! All around, countless pillars of fire rose into the sky, wrapping Yamamoto and Aizen in them. Just when Yamamoto wanted to die with Aizen, a white figure appeared behind Yamamoto. Yamamoto swung out his sword, but was caught with his bare hands, and the flames on the Zanpakuto disappeared mysteriously. With a strong swing, Yamamoto threw Wandawise away. There is no doubt that Ryoken Wakatsu is the strongest Zanpakuto, but if an Arrancar gave up all extra abilities, he would be able to compete with Ryoken Wakatsu. Aizen calmly explained the role of Wandawise to Yamamoto. The next moment, the hot hell that Yamamoto had laid out disappeared instantly. Then Aizen turned and left, leaving Wandawise to fight Yamamoto, but although Wandawise restrained Mr. Yamamoto despite the captain's Zanpakuto ability, Yamamoto still blew up Wandawise with his bare hands. However, this was still Aizen's conspiracy. As Wandawise, who had sealed the sword like fire, was blown up, the flames stored in his head began to an explosion broke out. In order to prevent the barrier from being destroyed, Captain Yamamoto used his body to withstand the explosion. The flames of Ryuk Zenwaki caused Yamamoto himself to be seriously injured. Just when Aizen was about to give Yamamoto the final blow, Yamamoto grabbed hold of him at his feet. Aizen's right foot. Kid, don't get too complacent too soon. On the ground, Yamamoto, who had fallen to the ground, raised a smile. 96 of the broken paths, cremation with one sword. Boom! The sky-high flames swept across the cloud tops of the world. Captain Yamamoto sacrificed his arm and released the terrifying broken path. Even Aizen was injured for the first time in this terrifying broken path and quickly withdrew from the flames. Surrounded, but the hollowed-out Kurosaki Ichigo attacked again. Getsuga Sky Crash. The terrifying dark red crescent-shaped impact was slashed out instantly. Poof! Countless blood shot up into the sky, and Aizen's left shoulder was hit solidly. One knife. However, Aizen's wound, which was fused with Bengyoku, healed in a few seconds. Shit, Aizen is going crazy, Spider-Man. Damn it, even Mr. Yamamoto is being plotted to death. This is too scary, Clin. This Bengyo is a good thing, killing the first emperor of the Six Kingdoms. It's hard to imagine who can rival him, red-haired Shanks. A strong and wise man is my type, Demon King Morgana. Damn it, how on earth can this situation be resolved, Hisugaya Toshiro? Upstairs, how does it feel to stab the woman you like with your own hands, Pirate Usopp? Unless you are much stronger than Aizen, it will be difficult to defeat him, Marshal Waring states. Yep, he's just a weakling who can only use tricks. With me, Onlin, there will be heaven. It can't be said that Aizen still has some merits, Utuo. In the world of death. The captains looked at Aizen's expression in the video and became extremely complicated. No one thought that Aizen would pose such a big threat to them. This was simply an unprecedented crisis. Even Yamamoto Motomoto Ryusai Shijikuni, who was known as the strongest Shinigami among them in thousands of years, was plotted by Aizen. Damn it, what should I do? In reality. Broken Jade? Aizen didn't expect that you would actually fuse Bengyo. Yura Harakisuk looked solemnly at the Honyu who merged with Aizen in the video. Regarding the dangers of Honyu, apart from Aizen, no one knows better than him. It is because of this that he wants to remove Aizen. Ran was hidden in Lucia's soul, causing Bengaio to disappear forever, but he was still found by Aizen. Now, defeating Aizen head-on is definitely not feasible unless. In the scene, Aizen explains to Ichigo how to arrange his life. There are no truths or lies in this world, only objective and harsh facts. People in the world only call truths that are beneficial to themselves facts. It would be difficult for them to survive without deceiving themselves in this way, but often the truth that hinders them is the real truth. After finishing everything, Aizen said these words with a calm expression, while Kurosaki Ichigo opposite him fell into deep self-doubt. "When did you start?" Kurosaki Ichigo asked Aizen with an ugly expression. "From the beginning, you were human and..." Before Aizen finished speaking, Kurosaki Ishine came to kill him and took Kurosaki Ichigo away. Aizen did not stop the two from leaving. After a long time, Kurosaki Ishine and Kurosaki Ichigo reappeared, and Kurosaki Ishine began a battle with Aizen. Just when the broken jade on Aizen's chest began to change, Urahara Kisuke appeared behind him, and a red light instantly passed through Aizen's shoulder. Looking at Urahara Kisuke's figure, Aizen instantly appeared in front of him and stabbed him out. However, it was just an artificial corpse. The real Urahara Kisuke appeared behind Aizen and used the six-stick light prison to kill him. Trapped. Looking at Urahara Kisuke's binding, Aizen looked calm. The 63 of the binding path, chain binding, and the 79 of the binding Deo, the 9-year binding trapped Aizen one after another, and then a fully chanted move of the 91,000-handed bright Tentai cannon of the broken path was blasted out. Countless pink missiles blasted out, and bright purple light illuminated the sky. It's time to die. In the world of low martial arts, countless people stared at the picture and had a thought in their minds. Such powerful moves? If you fall victim to these moves, you might not even be able to survive. In the world of Demon Slayer, all the ghosts stared at the scene intently. It's similar to an energy cannon. Is Aizen dead? In the world of Dragon Ball, Krillin looked doubtful. Not yet, Aizen won't die that easily. Sun Wukong on the side looked solemn. As if in response to Wukong's words, Aizen appeared unharmed behind Urahara Kisuke. However, all this was under the control of Urahara Kisuke. In the next moment, two golden wheels appeared in Aizen's hands. Urahara Kisuke's original fire-sealing punishment can seal the movement of spiritual pressure in the body, making Aizen's body unable to withstand the spiritual pressure and self-destruct. Boom! The bright purple light shines on the entire sky again. However, this move it did not have the slightest effect on Aizen. Aizen, who had evolved into his second form, slowly walked out of the light. The re-evolved Aizen appeared between Urahara Kisuke and Kurosaki Ishine. Easily after taking out the golden wheel, Uruaki suddenly appeared behind Aizen, and the three began to besiege Aizen. The trio continued to attack Aizen. And their clever coordination was perfect. After a few minutes of fighting, the trio were defeated. Aizen, who defeated the three, evolved again and reached the third stage of merging with Honyu. Looking at Aizen in the picture, the faces of countless people in the world are full of shock. It's too strong. There are so many powerful masters, but they didn't defeat Aizen. Instead, Aizen fused with Bengaio and became even more powerful. This is simply a god. Countless people in the lower world exclaimed in amazement. They had long been unable to guess Aizen's strength. Only the title of God can be worthy of the man in front of them. Teacher, if Aizen appears in front of you now, are you sure you can defeat him? In the world of One Punch Man, Genos looked at the bald young man wearing a red cloak in front of him and couldn't help but ask. I don't know, speaking of which, I should go buy eggs today, the supermarket has a discount. Bald Saitama scratched his head, then turned around and went out. Aizen-sama is so awesome, I really want to meet him. Little Tatsumaki looked at Aizen in the video, and strange colors appeared in his eyes. With such a powerful existence and such terrifying abilities, can anyone stop Aizen now? In the world of Naruto, the third generation Hokage frowned and fell into deep thought. Come on, Shinigami, don't let Aizen get too arrogant. Naruto, who was at the Hokage Academy, clenched his fists, his face full of anxiety. Alas, how great it would be if Aizen-sama was the righteous party, Haruno Sakura and Ino side together. Bangayo is a good thing. Aizen, you don't deserve it. Only I can have such a beautiful thing. In the world of the moon, a glint flashed in Gilgamesh's eyes. In the world of death, the faces of all the death gods in Soul Society and even the real world are full of despair. Whether it is Captain Yamamoto or the other captains, no one being able to defeat Aizen, or even being defeated by Aizen alone. If such a powerful opponent rules the world, what should they do? Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 15. The scene changed, and Aizen and Ikijin Maru appeared in the real Karakura town. In the city, countless people have fainted, and only humans who have some spiritual pressure on their bodies gradually wake up. In Karakura town, Aizen and Ichimaru-jin were walking in the street. At this time, a middle-aged man in a suit appeared in front of Aizen. However, just after Aizen passed by him, the man was surprised because of Aizen's spiritual pressure was too great to bear, and he disappeared into ashes. In the Karakura town of the Shinigami world, a middle-aged man who was working looked at the scene in front of him, his eyes widened, and the cells in his body felt frozen, and his whole body began to tremble involuntarily. He recognized it. Wasn't the man in the picture him? However, Aizen disappeared after just getting close to him. This is too scary. No, I have to escape from here quickly, now. With this idea in mind, the middle-aged man quit his job under the sympathetic eyes of his colleagues around him, rushed home at an unprecedented speed, took everything he could take away from home, as well as his wife and children, and stayed away from this terrible place. City. A faint smile appeared on the faces of countless villains in the world. In their hearts, weakness is the original sin, while those who are full of a sense of justice have angry faces. Walking around the corner, Aizen's eyes were greeted by a few familiar faces. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised. Aizen looked at the boys and girls, and a terrifying spiritual pressure spread instantly. As the spiritual pressure spread, Longui and others walking on the street felt a terrifying sense of oppression coming from the depths of their souls. You can actually retain consciousness in front of my spiritual pressure, not bad. As he said that, Aizen walked towards everyone. In the Death God world, looking at Aizen who was approaching Ryuuki and others, Kurosaki Ichigo, Ishida Uryu and even Inu Orium in Hueco Mundo let out a cry of surprise. Call Longui. In the real world, Longui and others are also looking at the scene in the video with fear, waiting for their next ending. In the picture, just as Aizen continues to approach Longui and others, a magic attack strikes. Aizen's face exploded. The camera turned and Tang Wanyanji appeared in front of everyone. After a fancy operation, Tang Wanyanji was about to rush forward to kill Aizen alone. Rangiku appeared in front of Aizen. Tang Wanyanji couldn't help but stop in front of Ran. Due to the appearance of Ranju, Longui and others also got the opportunity to evacuate. Damn it, no, I want to watch Tang Wanyanji kill Aizen alone. Rangiku Matsumoto, why are your pecs so exaggerated? Tang Wanyanji is truly a god. He doesn't panic when facing Aizen. He is simply a role model for our generation. This person can be dealt with, and he is really helpful when something happens. I have to say, Aizen's temper is really good, and he didn't even slap them to death. Aizen is so cheating, I love him so much. Ichimaru-jin and Rangiku seem to be very familiar with each other. Is there any bloody drama going to happen next? Countless barrages flashed across the screen, causing some people in the world of high martial arts to laugh and cry. Anyone with a discerning eye could see that Tangwanyan Temple was very weak, but there were still people who were bragging about it, and there were people who took the lead in pornography. Aren't you afraid of being banned? Tangwanyan Temple is really lucky, and it was thanks to him, Longui, that they were able to be saved. In the world of death, Kurosaki Ichigo and others let out a heavy breath, feeling a lot more at ease in their hearts. But in the real world, they knew Tangwanyanji, and even his fans became extremely enthusiastic. Suddenly Tangwanyanji's the popularity can be said to be hot all over the world. As for Tangwanyanji himself, he just wants to run away at this time. After all, after watching the video of Aizen and others fighting before, he just wants to slap himself in the video. Damn it! Why are you pretending to be cool? You almost burped. Just when Tangkanonji was preparing to evacuate, countless fans flocked to Tangkanonji's residence to ask him to get rid of Aizen and restore peace to Karakura town. The scene continued to play. Rangiku was taken away by Ichimaru-jin, while Aizen chose to continue chasing Ryuuki and others. Finally, Aizen caught everyone in a small alley. After a fierce operation by everyone, Aizen walked out of the alley unscathed, and then a god of death with an afro appeared. After some classic operations, Aizen next, Ikijin Meru, who defeated Rangiku, appeared behind Aizen. Lord Aizen, leave these guys to me. Holding Aizen's Zanpakuto that was about to slash at everyone, Ikijin Meru said with narrowed eyes. Boom. The moment Jin turned around, a white light penetrated Aizen's chest. In Aizen's widened pupils, Jin slowly explained the way to crack Kyoka Suijutsu. In order to ask this question, Ichimaru-jin had been dormant beside Aizen for decades, and no one in the Gotei 13 team knew the secret and could kill Aizen. Only Ichimaru-jin was died. However, all this is still under the control of Aizen. Aizen said that the reason why he kept Jin by his side was just to see how Ichimaru-jin would use him. Kill. The Shinigami world is located in Hueco Mundo. Ichimaru-jin's eyes widened, and then he turned his head to look at Aizen on the throne. He just wanted to scold you. This stupid video author, you're going to do it before I even do it? Am I exposed? Aizen-sama, I want to say this is just an accident, do you believe it? Forcibly suppressing the panic in his heart, Yin said to Aizen calmly. Silver, don't panic, you just have to do what you have to do. On the throne, Aizen looked at Ichimaru-jin with extremely calm eyes. He was not at all displeased at all because of Jin's actions in the video. As said in the video, Aizen's interest in Jin was just to see what Yin would do. How to kill him, and now Aizen wants to see how Yin will deal with him after his actions are exposed. Yin, I knew you had your reasons. In Soul Society, Matsumoto Rangiku clenched her fists with tears in her eyes, and the waves in her chest began to surge due to excitement. Ichimaru-jin, I can tell at a glance that this squinting guy is not a good guy. In the Demon Slayer world, the fallen princess from the 6th sequel had an angry look on her face, as if she had forgotten about Aizen's sneak attack on the third blade. I have to say that Aizen and Jin are a perfect match, but it's a pity that Tosin can aim. In the world of pirates, Doflamingo raised his eyebrows. He was not surprised at all that Aizen and Ikegenmaru killed each other. After all, the two people were not good at first sight. It's just Tosin, it's a pity otherwise. After all, if it were such a loyal subordinate, he would definitely not abandon it. Doesn't Aizen have to die now? On the Sunshine Mary, Usopp hammered his palms with a smile on his face. No, there was no trace of panic on Aizen's face. He must have a backup plan. Zoro squinted his eyes and looked at Aizen, who had a calm face. He felt uneasy in his heart. What, this is not dead. Is that human being? Luffy, Usopp, Brook and Chopper stood up at the same time, exclaimed with wide eyes. Intrigue, nothing more than clowns. In Dochi continent, Gu Yuan looked disdainful. Ha ha ha, I am very optimistic about you two. Who will have the last laugh in the end? On the other side, the Soul Emperor from the Soul clan stared at the two people in the picture with excitement. For a person like him who likes to use strategies, this kind of plot is the most satisfying to him. In the picture, Aizen looked at Ichimaru-jin with a calm face, and said that you are the kind of person who is stabbed to death by a Zanpakuto. Silver smiled slightly and pointed to the Zanpakuto with a missing gap in his hand to explain his intention to Aizen. It turned out that the small fragment of the blade was filled with a poison that could dissolve cells. The thrust just now had left the poison in Aizen's heart. Listening to Ikijinmaru's explanation and the strangeness coming from his body, Aizen's calm face finally began to change, and a drop of cold sweat slowly left his forehead. The angry Aizen tried his best to kill Ichiginmaru, but the Hogyaku in Ginmaru's body was taken away. In the eyes of everyone in the world, Aizen finally fell to the ground, just when all the villains were disappointed and the protagonists, who were full of justice, looked excited. As the camera turned, a bright purple light emerged from Aizen's chest, and an endless hurricane swept through the surrounding environment unbridled. As the strong wind dissipated, Aizen's form changed again. Butterfly-like wings appeared on his back, and the injuries on his body disappeared. He entered the fourth stage of Bengyoku, the evolutionary stage. And Aizen in this evolutionary stage, even though there is no Bengyo in his body, he is still in a state of being one with Bengyo. The evolved Aizen appeared in front of Ichigenmaru in the blink of an eye, raised his hand and easily seriously injured Ichimaru-jin with a knife. Jin, who was seriously injured, wanted to continue to touch the jade in Aizen's body with his hand, but his right arm was cut off by Aizen with a knife, and then pierced through the chest with a knife. Ichimaru-jin fell in the ruins, his life was about to come to an end, and Matsumoto Rangiku hurriedly appeared in front of him. Looking at Matsumoto Rangiku in front of him, Aizen calmly raised the Zanpakuto in his hand. At this moment, Kurosaki Ichigo appeared carrying his father Kurosaki Ishine. Woohoo, Ichimaru-jin just wants to get back Rangiku's lost soul. What's wrong with him? In the world of Naruto, Haruno Sakura and Ino hugged each other and cried bitterly. The faces of Naruto, Sasuke, and others in the classroom nearby were also full of sadness. They felt inexplicably sad about the experiences of these two people. Lin, I want to create a world with you. In the Akatsuki organization, a trace of sadness appeared in Uchiha Obito's eyes. He looked at Rangiku who was holding Jin and crying and told him his dream. Damn Aizen, you are so hateful. Fairy tale world, located in the guild, Natsu's face was full of anger, and his companions behind him also had gloomy faces. Ha ha ha, you are indeed the guy I like, Aizen. In the world of pirates, Blackbeard looked excited, and there were dozens of empty wine bottles next to him. Damn it, what does he think of life? In the Demon Slayer world, countless members of the Demon Slayer team roared one after another. Aizen-sama is invincible. On the other side, the eyes of all the ghosts are full of admiration. In the world of death, Silver. Tears flowed from Matsumoto Rangiku's eyes. Looking at Ikijinmaru who was about to die in the video, she didn't know what to say at this moment. Aizen fused with Bengyoku and actually evolved to such a terrifying state. Is there no way to stop him? In the Seireitei, Hitsugaya Toshiro clenched his fists with an angry look on his face. Kurosaki Ichigo appears, and he seems to have become stronger. Maybe he can defeat Aizen. Yukitake Jushiro looked at Ichigo in the picture, a glimmer of light flashed in his eyes. How is it possible, in such a short world, how could he change to the point where he has the strength to defeat Aizen? Listening to Yukitake's words, expressions of disbelief appeared on the faces of all the captains, and Kashiwamura even said these words in doubt. Quiet. Knocking the ground hard, Mr. Yamamoto spoke. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo in that costume, Mr. Yamamoto had a look of surprise in his eyes. If it was that move, he might really have a chance to defeat Aizen. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 16. The scene continued to change. Ichigo returned with blazing eyes, messy yellow hair, and calm eyes that made Ryuki and others on the sidelines almost unrecognizable. Feeling the changes in Kurosaki Ichigo's body, Aizen's eyes flashed with disappointment, because from Kurosaki Ichigo's body, Aizen could not feel a trace of spiritual pressure, even though Kurosaki Ichigo hid his Ryutsu cannot be hidden so cleanly. There is only one reason for this, and that is that Kurosaki Ichigo failed to evolve. Sorry, Black Knight. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, who had no spiritual pressure at all, Aizen spoke. Aizen, let's change places, I don't want to fight here. Glancing at the surrounding environment, Kurosaki Ichigo said calmly. Your proposal is meaningless. This is something only a person with the strength to fight me can say. There is no need to worry, there is no need to wait until Karakura town is destroyed. You already. Before Aizen finished speaking, Kurosaki Ichigo's strong arm appeared in front of him, then grabbed his face and flew away. Boom! The terrifying power caused the earth to burst into shocking cracks. Violent sonic booms exploded around the two of them, the air was torn apart layer by layer, and countless landscapes quickly receded around them. The screen turned, and an endless place full of hills appeared. Aizen was brought here by Ichigo Kurosaki in surprise, and then he was thrown to the ground heavily. Countless amounts of dust quickly floated up, forming a huge thick fog. How is it possible that you could use only brute force to kill me? Standing up in disbelief, Aizen covered his face with one hand, the expression on his face was full of surprise. Let's get started, Aizen. I will end this fight in an instant. Calmly looking at Aizen with a surprised look on his face, Kurosaki Ichigo spoke. Looking at the figure that took Aizen away without any reaction, everyone stared at the picture intently, their faces filled with solemn expressions. They knew that a battle beyond the gods of death and hollow was about to begin. Although Aizen's words are full of disdain for Ichigo, some people can see that Kurosaki Ichigo's strength at this moment is definitely not the failure of evolution that Aizen said. What a terrifying physical strength. He actually flew hundreds of thousands of meters with a single leap in the lower world. Countless people looked at Kurosaki Ichigo's figure that was like a god descending to earth. Their eyes were full of envy and a little jealousy. He could achieve the feat of flying into the sky and escaping from the earth with his body alone. This was a feat that countless people in the lower world had to do. It is extremely impossible to do something in a lifetime, how can we not make them envious? Come on, Kurosaki Ichigo, defeat Aizen. In the world of heaven, countless people with a sense of justice are cheering for Kurosaki Ichigo. Aizen beat him so hard, I've long been unhappy with this yellow guy. Similarly, some people support it and others despise it. Countless villains are looking forward to the scene of Aizen defeating Ichigo Kurosaki. In the world of death, countless people and even the god of death have an idea in their mind. Kurosaki Ichigo, he has become stronger. It can be seen that although Kurosaki Ichigo cannot feel the presence of any spiritual pressure in his body, the calmness in his eyes cannot be concealed. Facing Aizen's still fearless eyes. Ichigo, come on. People in the Seireiti and even those who know Ichigo in real life are cheering for Kurosaki Ichigo. The screen continues to play. End this battle instantly. A smile appeared on Aizen's face. I see, I understand, Kurosaki Ichigo, the reason why your spiritual pressure disappeared is not that your spiritual pressure disappeared, but that you abandoned it, although I don't know what technique you used. You turn all your spiritual pressure into the power of your own spiritual body, which is your wrist strength, leg strength, grip strength, throwing strength, and running strength. At the cost of giving up your spiritual pressure, You let all your body ability has been greatly improved. Because you have completely given up fighting me with spiritual pressure, but you should despair as soon as possible. Let me tell you, even the physical ability that you regard as your only hope is far from being able to match me. With Aizen's explanation, many people in the world suddenly realized and understood why Kurosaki Ichigo's physical strength could become so powerful. As soon as he finished speaking, the purple light of the broken jade suddenly appeared in Aizen's body. The 6 pairs of wings behind him began to bloom, and a terrifying sense of oppression rushed towards his face. Phew! Aizen disappeared from the place, appeared behind Kurosaki Ichigo, and then slashed out with the Zanpakuto in his hand. Kurosaki Ichigo turned around, and the black sword in his hand suddenly swung out, colliding with Aizen's Zanpakuto. Boom! Far away from the two of them, a huge mountaintop was created by the fierce collision of the two's blades. In the aftermath, they instantly turned into powder. After the collision, the two people stepped back and looked at the shattered mountain. A look of surprise appeared in Aizen's eyes, and then Aizen spoke, "Thank you, you can avoid it, but you should be surprised. I just waved the knife lightly, and the terrain changed so drastically. This is my current power. To be honest, I didn't expect that my abilities would improve so much. I'm very happy, Kurosaki Ichigo, this is all thanks to you. This surpasses the power of Hollow and Death, and I can finally try it to my heart's content." After saying that, Aizen flew forward again and slashed towards Kurosaki Ichigo. Boom boom boom. As the two people's blades continued to collide, the huge mountains around them were flattened one by one, neat and smooth. Stone faces are intimidating. Seeing how the mere contact of blades between Aizen and Kurosaki Ichigo had such horrific consequences, the faces of people in the world were filled with fear. A battle of this level would be too terrifying. Lord Thanos, you see, do I still need to go to Earth? In the Marvel world, Loki was instantly frightened when he looked at the picture in the video, and his legs began to tremble unconsciously. They are not from this universe, Thanos said calmly. For Thanos, who understands the philosophies of all the gods of the Eternal Clan, all of this was naturally seen through in an instant. What a terrifying aftermath. They also use knives. Compared with them, the Demon Slayer squad is just scratching their itch. In the Demon Slayer world, the eyes of the Shangxian ghosts were full of fear. They only felt a wave of fear for the terrifying power on the sword. That kind of power was enough to wipe them out in an instant, and even their cells might not be able to survive. There will be the slightest residue. In the pirate world, countless people looked at the scene in front of them, and their eyes were straightened with shock. Even Whitebeard, who is known as the strongest man in the world, couldn't help but sigh. Even if I try my best, using the shock fruit to blast a blow can only cause a little more power than. What a powerful swordsmanship! If I fight with them, can I withstand a sword? Located on the sea, the eagle's sharp eyes widened, and he began to compare the gap with the two people in his heart. What a terrifying taijutsu! I, Uchiha Madara, would like to call you number one. In the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara's face was solemn, and his fists could not help but clenched. Oh, it's just a mountain collapse. The limit of God is nothing more than this. In the Dragon Ball world, the god of destruction looked at the scene with disdain. In the Death God world, all the captains looked at the scene with solemn faces. They could no longer estimate Aizen's strength. Although Kurosaki Ichigo now also it's very strong, but I'm afraid it can't do anything to Aizen. Damn it, Aizen has become so powerful. Hisugaya Tashiro's eyes widened, his whole body stiffened, and his hands began to tremble slightly. Sure enough, even if Ichigo becomes stronger, he is still no match for Aizen. Kashiwamura shook his head and sighed. Just when everyone was surprised by Aizen's power, Yamamoto Genri Usai Shijikuni spoke. No. What really shattered that mountain was Kurosaki Ichigo's sword. As soon as these words came out, the atmosphere instantly became silent. A strange atmosphere filled the whole room. How is this possible? Kurosaki Ichigo can't feel any spiritual pressure on his body. How could it be Kurosaki Ichigo's sword that shattered the mountain? Everyone's eyes widened with expressions of disbelief on their faces, and Baikon even exclaimed, "Just read on and you'll find out." Without any extra explanation, Yamamoto continued to watch the video. On the other side, in Hueco Mundo, Aizen looked at the power he had after evolving towards a higher level, with a smile on his face. Sure enough, the choice of integrating Bengaya was indeed the right one. Yin on the side looked at Kurosaki Ichigo in the video, with a flash of light in his eyes. Lord Aizen has become so powerful, this is simply a god. In Sui Palace, the Aaron Cars and even the Jublade members couldn't help but sigh. Even Haribal, who saw himself being killed by Aizen himself, became afraid of Aizen's power. I beg you to give me flower evaluation tickets and monthly tickets. Your hard work is in the code. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 17. In the eyes of the people in the world, the scene continued to play. Clang. Aizen and Kurosaki Ichigo's swords collided. Incredibly, it seems that we have finally completed a similar evolution of merging the right hand with the Zanpakuto. Maybe this posture is the original appearance of the Zanpakuto, haha. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, Aizen smiled. What's so funny? Narrowing his eyes, Kurosaki Ichigo asked. Through the confrontation just now, it is obvious that there is indeed a dimensional gap in the degree of evolution between you and me. If I thought about it, your Zanpakuto would immediately be broken into pieces with just one swing. Aizen smiled and waved the Zanpakuto in his right hand again. Phew. The terrifying Zanpakuto cut through the atmosphere with extremely sharp force. At this moment, Kurosaki Ichigo slowly raised his right hand and struck at Aizen with shocked eyes. He gently held Aizen's Zanpakuto. Boom. Behind the two of them, the terrifying force instantly blasted the ground behind them into a terrifying chasm that was thousands of meters long. Countless rubbles turned into stone. The powder disappeared in the sky. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo catching his own blade, a trace of confusion flashed through Aizen's mind, and a drop of cold sweat fell from his forehead. How could it be possible that he actually caught it? He could avoid it if so, I can understand this. No, originally, he couldn't have the speed to avoid my attack. Even so, if he could avoid it, I could still accept it, but did you take my blow? In the picture, below the video, the careful author added subtitles for Aizen's psychological activities. What are you surprised about? I blocked your knife. Is that so hard for you to believe? Holding Aizen's Zanpakuto, Kurosaki Ichigo looked at Aizen calmly and spoke. What? Aizen's eyes widened. Are you scared? Something happened in front of you that you can't understand. Looking at Aizen's reaction, Kurosaki Ichigo continued to speak. Hee. You're so funny, Kurosaki Ichigo. With a sneer, Aizen jumped back and distanced himself from Ichigo Kurosaki. Something I can't understand? Don't talk to me in a tone that sounds like you're bragging about victory. It's just that your physical ability was instantly higher than mine. This kind of miracle sometimes happens, but I am above this. Then in order to prevent this kind of miracle from happening again, I will use the ghost path to defeat you and turn you into dust. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, Aizen spoke angrily, raised his left hand quickly, and terrifying spiritual pressure suddenly spurted out with Aizen as the center. Dark purple spiritual pressure enveloped the entire world, and an invisible sense of oppression filled the air. Every corner, faintly revealing the turbid coat of arms, unruly and arrogant talent, surge, denial, paralysis, moment, hindering eternal sleep. The crawling steel princess, the clay doll that keeps mutilating itself, combines, rebounds, and extends to the ground, know your own powerlessness. 9090 of the broken path, black coffin. As the chants came out of Eisen's mouth word by word, the spiritual pressure around him began to become violent, and the exciting BGM started to sound. What a terrifying sense of oppression. After this move, Kurosaki Ichigo may not even be able to survive. In the Demon Slayer world, Ani Itsuji Muzan looked at the scene with a horrified expression. Even when facing the sun, he had never felt such a terrifying sense of oppression. Get out of the way, Kurosaki Ichigo. In the world of the heavens, the decent people who support Kurosaki Ichigo clenched their fists and spoke one after another. On the contrary, those who supported Aizen naturally had smiles on their faces, looking forward to the miserable life of Kurosaki Ichigo when the black coffin disappeared. Appearance. Kurosaki-san, get out of the way. In the world of death, Orochimaru looked at the scene and couldn't help but exclaimed. Ichigo. People who are familiar with Kurosaki Ichigo in the Soul Society and in reality began to shout Kurosaki Ichigo's name. Everyone understands the power of the fully chanted 90 black coffins of the broken path. Before, when he was in Soul Society, Aizen used this move to kill Captain Kashiwamura instantly. Now that Aizen has become stronger and is still in full chanting state, the power of this move is probably unprecedented, even if it hits. The current Kurosaki Ichigo will probably be killed in an instant. Aizen was very angry, and the consequences were serious, the 6 fallen princesses of the upper string. Ichigo, get out of the way, Klin. Such a powerful move, now something is wrong, red-haired Shanks. It's so strong, this move makes me feel more terrifying than Akonolia's breath, Fire Dragon Natsu. Yep. It's just a big momentum, how powerful can it be, Saiyan Prince Vegeta? Just like that, it's not as powerful as my breath. With me, Onlin, there will be heaven. In the picture, a huge jet black rectangular body began to rise rapidly with Kurosaki Ichigo as the center, completely burying Kurosaki Ichigo's figure. There was silence all around, the towering black space blocked out the sky, and a sly smile appeared on Aizen's face. At this moment, everyone in the world thought that Kurosaki Ichigo was buried at this time. In the black coffin, Kurosaki Ichigo waved his left hand lightly. Boom! In Aizen's horrified eyes, the huge black coffin shattered into countless pieces and fell to the ground. It seems that you haven't noticed that I am even more powerful than you are now. After saying this, Kurosaki Ichigo approached Aizen step by step. As he approached, he said, it was my sword that made that rock mountain fly away. Here I come, Aizen. In Aizen's horrified eyes, Ichigo stepped on the ground, and the terrifying force instantly caused a large pit to sink into the ground. Poof! The black blade flashed past, and a terrifying scar appeared on Aizen's body. A large number of blood spurted out. The injured Aizen turned into a purple light and disappeared from the place, and then appeared on the top of a mountain not far away. Covering his wound, Aizen had a painful expression on his face. It's such a strange feeling. When I took the initiative to distance myself from you, you who asked me the reason actually took the initiative to distance myself this time. It's my turn to ask you this time, right? Under Aizen's shocked eyes, Kurosaki Ichigo's faint voice came out from where he was. Why did you distance yourself from me just now? So, does it make you happy to block my sword? Does crushing my ghost bring you such joy? Does hurting my body make you so happy? Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, Aizen's right hand holding the Zanpakuto began to shake, an angry expression filled Aizen's face, and the white substance in the wound began to surge crazily. Don't get too carried away, humans. An angry voice came from Aizen's mouth. In the eyes of everyone in the world, Aizen's eyes left a line of blood between his eyebrows. Then Aizen's head tilted, and his entire face was like broken glass. It generally exploded. Boom! Endless purple spiritual pressure spurted out instantly, Aizen's angry roar resounded through the sky was filled with dazzling purple light, the terrifying spiritual pressure rolled up hurricanes one after another, and a purple beam of light started with blue. Aizen suddenly shot up into the sky as the center point, and an earth-shattering aura of terror filled the surroundings. Poof! Countless blood shattered the purple beam of light. Each of the 6 wings had a skull face, and Aizen completed the final change in the fusion form. So, you still can't forgive me, Bengai-o. I would actually lag behind a mere human being. Standing up, the hoarse voice of the unrecognizable Aizen came out. The next moment, behind Aizen, the skull-like wings threw out a fist-sized Ryotsu bomb filled with purple light. The Ryotsu bomb filled with purple light. Drawing a beautiful arc in the air, it quickly fell towards the direction of Kurosaki Ichigo. Boom! The seemingly inconspicuous Ryotsu bomb was like a nuclear bomb. The terrifying explosion instantly swept through an area of dozens of miles around, endless. The hurricane swept across the entire land wantonly, and huge stones turned into particles of dust in the aftermath. Looking from a distance, a giant mushroom cloud suddenly rose, and a strong light shone even on Ryu, who was far away in Karakura town. Everyone could see it clearly. At the center of the explosion, Kurosaki Ichigo slowly appeared in everyone's eyes. His left arm was severely burned, and half of his body was burned to death. I see, the attack just now only hurt me to this extent. But you can no longer use your left hand. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, who was still burning with blazing fire around him, Aizen spoke. After finishing his words, he stepped on his feet. The terrifying power raised a thick fog, and Aizen's body rushed towards Ichigo quickly, pinching with his left hand. Holding Ichigo's neck, the 6 pairs of skull wings on the back wrapped it, and the purple halo circled Ichigo's body. The dazzling purple light illuminated the entire sky, and as the purple light slowly dissipated, several white substances appeared. The huge circle formed surrounded the 2 of them. Did you hear that, Kurosaki Ichigo? You did temporarily destroy the realm of death and hollow and became a transcendent, but now you have lost that power. It is terrible. You now have no value that even makes me want to understand you deeply. You are about to have me, the transcendent, with my own hands. After I wipe you out, you can say goodbye to such inferior existences as the god of death and hollow. Everything is over, Kurosaki Ichigo. Pinching Kurosaki Ichigo's neck, Aizen's hoarse voice came out. You said it's all over? Is that all you have? Looking at Aizen, who was strangling his neck, Kurosaki Ichigo's face was filled with calmness. Boom! A sword slashed out. The terrifying force caused the bodies of Kurosaki Ichigo and Aizen to fly backward at the same time. Some distance. Forget it, Aizen. I'm tired of hearing your lies. Kurosaki Ichigo, who was in mid-air, flicked the black sword in his hand. His right hand holding the black sword was in a straight line, and his left hand held the front half of his arm. He then said, "Let you see this. It's the last." Crescent moon clashes in the sky. As soon as he finished speaking, a terrifying spiritual pressure burst out instantly, and a silver-white light pillar formed by the spiritual pressure rose into the sky. Black spiritual pressure wrapped around the light pillar, and a white light illuminated everyone's eyes. It was comparable to a level 10 storm. Hurricanes roared one after another. In Aizen's shocked eyes, the appearance of Kurosaki Ichigo, who had torn away the dark spiritual pressure, underwent an astonishing change. Except for his left arm, his whole body was covered with a bandage-like gray shell, and his pupils changed. It turned into a vermilion color, and her waist-length black hair fluttered in the wind, and she was surrounded by streaks of black spiritual pressure. What's the matter with you looking like that? Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo's greatly changed appearance, Aizen's face was filled with astonishment. Boom! The terrifying spiritual pressure swept out, and Aizen couldn't help but take a few steps back. The so-called final crescent moon opposition is when I become the crescent moon myself. Looking at the stunned Aizen, Ichigo began to explain the origin of the move. The final crescent moon Chong, if I use this technique, I will lose all the power of death. This is what the so-called final means. With his pupil-less eyes widened, Aizen felt the feeling emanating from Ichigo. He couldn't feel anything anymore, just like I evolved into a different dimension from death, just like the second dimension cannot interfere with the existence of the third dimension. Likewise, unless I consciously lower my level so that it can interfere, neither the Shinigami nor humans will be able to feel my spiritual pressure. Could it be that guy? Has that guy evolved to a higher dimension than me? How can it be? How could such a thing happen? How could a mere human being surpass me? This kind of thing. His body shook violently, and Aizen's angry roar spread throughout the area. He raised his right hand wrapped with spiritual pressure, and gently grasped the hand of Kurosaki Ichigo, who appeared with a sword composed of black spiritual pressure. Lifted high without any hesitation. No moon. Hey. Cut it down with one hand. Boom. The dark spiritual pressure instantly covered the entire world. The terrifying slash made the entire world eclipse. The tens of thousands of meters long black slash instantly wiped out Aizen's entire body. Cover. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 18. As soon as the picture came out, many people in the world were shocked, their eyes were filled with incredible looks, and people in countless worlds were boiling. What kind of existence is the god of death? Is there any difference between it and a real god? In the world of One Punch Man, countless heroes exclaimed in shock. Even Saitama's eyes were a little solemn. In the world of Naruto, most people were shocked to see the Five Shadows and the Akatsuki organization. Orochimaru, even Uchiha Madara and the Otsutsuki clan far away on the moon were dumbfounded. It was simply unimaginable that there could be such a terrible battle in this world. Aizen, who was so powerful in the past, was defeated by Kurosaki Ichigo in the end. In the pirate world, countless pirates began to feel fear when they saw this scene. At that moment, the fist-sized Ryotsu bomb completely destroyed their proud self-confidence, let alone the black men behind them. The final Getsuga Tenko used by Ichigo Saki. What are the strongest creatures in the sea, land, and air? Damn it, even a piece of spiritual pressure they throw casually can't stop them. In Wano, Kaido, who is known as one of the strongest living creatures, the Four Emperors, couldn't help but complain. What I pursue in this life is such a perfect slash. On the sea, the hawk's eyes stared blankly at the figure of Kurosaki Ichigo wielding a sword. Whether it is Aizen or Kurosaki Ichigo, their strength is far beyond our knowledge. In the Navy headquarters, Sengoku collapsed on his seat with a look of disbelief. In the Dragon Ball world, Sun Wukong and others looked at the scene with shocked faces, and their hearts were no less shocked than people in other worlds. Even the Rush Vegeta, who was looking at the earth, looked at the two of them with solemn eyes. Interestingly, that guy named Kurosaki Ichigo actually touched the realm of God. The god of destruction Beerus looked at Kurosaki Ichigo's figure, picked up a grape and threw it into his mouth with great interest. In the world of death. Great, Ichigo defeated Aizen. In Soul Society, all the Shinigami began to cheer. In the Seireitai, except for Yamamoto and Yanaja no Hanaretsu, all the captains had incredible expressions on their faces. They couldn't imagine that Kurosaki Ichigo, actually with such terrifying power, Aizen, who can easily defeat the captain level, is actually beaten by Ichigo Kurosaki. Kurosaki Ichigo, I look forward to fighting you again. Zaraki Kenpaku's face showed a wanton smile, and his eyes were full of fanaticism. Holy shit, this guy Ichigo Kurosaki actually defeated Aizen. Kashiwamura's eyes widened, and his whole body began to shake involuntarily. Originally, he thought that Kurosaki Ichigo could not have the power to defeat Aizen, but he was slapped in the face after he had just said such a big talk. This was too much. Almost. Kurosaki Ichigo is such an unexpected guy. Looking at Ichigo Kurosaki in the video, Byakuya Kukiki and other captains couldn't help but sigh in admiration. In reality, Ichigo, you win. Shawada Tehu shook Ichigo's shoulders with excitement. Ichigo's face was in a state of confusion. Did I really defeat Aizen? In Hueco Mundo. All the Arankars looked dismayed. Their eyes widened in confidence, and drops of cold sweat fell from their foreheads. At this time, they just felt that the world was too crazy. The arrogant Lord Aizen was actually defeated, and he was not defeated by his sworn enemy in Soul Society, but was defeated by a human. Impossible, how could that guy Ichigo Kurosaki defeat Lord Aizen? Grim Joe's face was full of shock. No one understands Kurosaki Ichigo's strength better than him. Buzz. In the Sui Palace, Aizen's eyes widened when he was sitting on the throne. The huge spiritual pressure instantly overwhelmed the entire the Sui Palace was covered, and all the Arankars' eyes turned to the direction of Aizen in horror. Their whole bodies were trembling involuntarily, and they felt like they couldn't breathe. How is this possible? This guy Ichigo Kurosaki actually defeated me. Collapsed on the throne, Aizen fell into deep self-doubt. The scene turned, and Kurosaki Ichigo's figure fell from mid-air. The dark spiritual pressure that enveloped the entire world gradually receded, and the color of the world began to return. Click. The bandage-like gray shell on Ichigo Kurosaki's face began to crumble. Immediately afterwards, all the gray outer shell of the upper body was shattered, turning into spirits and disappearing into the world. Boom. In the distance, Aizen's figure hit the ground heavily, and countless dust flew into the air. The thick fog gradually dissipated, and a scar on Aizen's back appeared in everyone's eyes. The next moment. Phew. Phew. The white substance instantly healed the huge scar on Aizen's back. Do you want to be born again? Looking at the recovered Aizen, Kurosaki Ichigo frowned. Phew. The scene turned and Kurosaki Ichigo appeared in front of Aizen, looking at Aizen who was gradually climbing up. Boom. At the same time, the moment Aizen stood up, Kurosaki Ichigo returned to his original appearance, and then fell to his knees. Oops, the power of death is gradually disappearing. On the ground, Kurosaki Ichigo felt the power of death that was constantly dissipating in his body, and his face was filled with cold sweat. Bang. Raising his head, Ichigo looked at Aizen's position. Kurosaki Ichigo, you lose. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo kneeling on the ground, Aizen spoke, then raised the broken Zanpakuto in his hand and said, "Look. The Zanpakuto is gradually disappearing." Crack. Click. In Aizen's hand, the Zanpakuto is constantly shattering, turning into spirits and disappearing into the air. You should be able to understand the meaning. This represents Bengayu's judgment that I no longer need the Zanpakuto. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo, a smile appeared on Aizen's face. Everyone in the world looked at the recovered Aizen in disbelief. Those who supported Kurosaki Ichigo were full of despair at this moment, and those who stood on Aizen's side showed unscrupulous smiles. At this moment, Aizen, who was fused with Bengyoku, was an extremely powerful and unkillable monster in everyone's eyes, and every time you defeated him, if you hit this monster, he will become stronger. This is really disappointing. Just like you who merged with the Zanpakuto, no. Now I have risen to a new level compared to you who lost the power of death, and ended Ichigo Kurosaki. Smiling unbridled, Aizen's voice spread throughout the world. However, at this moment. Boom. Suddenly, a red light penetrated from Aizen's chest, followed by his abdomen, shoulders, and throat. Several red lights appeared, showing a cross shape. A ghost? When was this thing made? Looking at the red light on his chest, Aizen's eyes flashed with astonishment, and his body began to shake involuntarily. It seems that it has finally started. At this time, a faint voice came. Looking up, Urahara Kisuke appeared beside the two of them. Urahara Kisuke, did you do something good? Looking at Urahara Kisuke, Aizen asked. Yes, that ghost path was injected into your body through other ghost paths when you were most relaxed before you fully evolved. Urahara Kisuke nodded and looked at Aizen with a calm expression. In the screen, the scene of Urahara Kisuke using the Senjukaitan Tai cannon appeared. It was the scene of Urahara Kisuke shooting Kido into Aizen's body. The camera returned to original screen. That's a seal. When you merge with Bengaio, I think it's almost impossible to kill you. So in order to seal you, a new ghost path was developed. Urahara Kisuke calmly explained his intention to Aizen. Yeah? What a pity. With a sneer, Aizen raised the Zanpakuto in his hand and said, look, I'm about to evolve to a new realm now. With your level of Kido, trying to seal me is simply a fool's errand. The words fell. Bang. I saw the white substance on Aizen's face and even the arm holding the Zanpakuto instantly shattered. How is this going? Looking at the white substance disappearing from his arm, Aizen's face was full of panic, and then he began to check the condition of his body. That is Banyu's wool. The seal I injected into your body was only activated now because your power is weakened now. Urahara Kisuke looked at Aizen's situation without the slightest surprise on his face, and then turned to look at Kurosaki Ichigo. It's all thanks to Kurosaki, because he fought with you and forced you to this point before he was able to activate I mean Bengaio no longer recognizes you as the master. Looking at Aizen again, a trace of pity appeared in Urahara Kisuke's eyes. How can it be? How could such a thing happen? This is impossible, he roared angrily, and in the next moment, Aizen's body was stabbed with 10 spiritual pressure crosses emitting red light. Urahara Kisuke, I despise you. If you have a mind like that, why don't you take action? Why should you surrender to that kind of thing? Wailing in pain, the red light slowly rose from Aizen's feet and slowly enveloped Aizen's body. That kind of thing? Are you talking about the Spirit King? Urahara Kisuke frowned, and then continued. That's it, you saw it, if King Ling disappears, the Soul Society will be torn apart. The Soul King is a wedge. Once the wedge is lost, it will collapse easily. This is what the so-called world is like. On the right side of the screen, a note appeared in the eyes of everyone in the world. Soul King, he is the co-supreme ruler of Hueco Mundo, Soul Society, the real world, hell, and the world. He created each world and is the leader of that world. Supreme God. This is totally a loser theory. The winner will never say what kind of existence the world is. Instead, it will emphasize how the world should be. Aizen roared angrily and kept opening the ghost paths around him. Before he finished speaking, a red light flashed, and Aizen's body was sealed in the ghost path. Unable to bear to look directly, Kurosaki Ichigo turned his head, a complex look appeared in his eyes. The sad BGM began to sound, the dark sky gradually began to regain its brightness, and the breeze began to gently blow the black night Ichigo's cheek. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 19. The scene turned, and Urahara Kisuke, who had finished the battle, looked at Kurosaki Ichigo with a lonely expression and asked, why do you have that expression? Why? Even I don't understand. Glancing at Kisuke Urahara who asked the question, Ichigo Kurosaki slowly sat down. Whether it's everyone's life or this world, it's all because you risked your life to defeat Aizen. Looking at Kurosaki Ichigo's lonely figure, Urahara Kisuke spoke to comfort him. I see. Kurosaki Ichigo nodded. You did the right thing, so there's no reason to look like that, Mr. Kurosaki. Urahara Kisuke continued. In the sky, a dark cloud flew in, covering the two people's figures. At the same time, Kurosaki Ichigo spoke. N.A. Mr. Urahara, Aizen. Was Aizen really rejected by Bengio? I heard my dad say that Bengio's ability is to read the inner thoughts of people around him and materialize them, but what if that's really the case? Could it be that Aizen desires to lose his power? When I gained enough strength to be on par with Aizen, I finally touched his sword during the battle with him. That guy's sword only feels lonely. If his ability has been extraordinary since birth, maybe he has been looking for someone who can be at the same level as him throughout his life. But from the moment he found that he couldn't find it, somewhere in his heart, maybe he had been longing to become an ordinary god of death. At the end of the picture, it ends with the moment when Ichigo Kurosaki finishes speaking. Sosuke Aizen, a man who exists like a god but is full of loneliness. At the end of the picture, a line of comments appears, and countless people in the world burst out. In addition to the carnival of flash floods and tsunamis, countless people who support Kurosaki Ichigo and the Shinigami side are filled with excitement, trembling, and excited smiles filling their faces. However, some people's faces are full of loneliness. And these people, none of them are the top experts in this world. Invincible is also a touch of sadness. In the world of kings, Miyamoto Musashi raised his head and looked up at the sky at 45 degrees. After Roger's death, there is no man in the world worthy of my action. In the pirate world, Whitebeard drank the wine in his hand and said with a lonely look on his face, Hashirama, if it weren't for our status back then, maybe we could have become best friends. In the world of Naruto, Uchiha Madara lowered his head and began to recall bits and pieces of the past. I can feel the feeling that Mr. Ichigo said. In the Demon Slayer world, Tanjiro Kamado said, Aizen-sama didn't lose, he just doesn't want to play anymore. In the Guo parade, Fengji shed tears. It's boring, but it's not like I was defeated in the end. Even after talking so many big words, it's nothing more than that. In the world of Dragon Ball, Frieza crossed his arms with a look of disdain. To him, defeat is defeat. No matter how much, it is just an excuse for the weak. In the world of one leaf covering the sky, among the 7 major beings in the restricted area. Lonely? Aren't we also trapped here? Even if we push ourselves for a lifetime, we will still end up like this. Although the little guy named Aizen is very weak, he is indeed a strong person in their world, which is similar to our experience. They are all pursuing a higher realm, but the level they can reach in their world is too low. That thing called Bengio seems to be a good item. There is actually a system of continuous reincarnation in their world, which is really enviable. In the forbidden area of life, the ancient beings are communicating one by one. At that time, they were all invincible beings, but because they could not become immortals and had limited lifespan, they could only huddle in the forbidden area. But they were all strong, they are all alone. On the other side, in the world of Shinigami, countless Shinigami began to cheer, and even the humans in the real world looked happy. In the Seireitei, listening to Kurosaki Ichigo's words, many captains fell into deep thought. Does that guy Aizen really think that way? Hisugaya Tashiro frowned and spoke. Maybe, but we don't know yet what Aizen is thinking at this time, and we should be prepared. Yukitake Jushiro shook his head and began to analyze the next plan. It is located in Sui Palace. Aizen returned to his former calm, and began to think about the next plan in his heart. Regarding Kurosaki Ichigo's words, although I don't agree 100%, but some of what he said is indeed correct. But this does not mean that he will give up his next plan. In Sui Palace, Ulquiorra and Tenshin Kaname narrowed their eyes, thinking in their minds a bold idea emerged from his mind. Then his body flashed and disappeared. Reward the top 10 of the first issue of the inventory of people from all over the world, following the fate of the country. Ding. It has been detected that Enikitsu Kuni is dead, and the reward was obtained by his successor Tanjiro Kamado. The reward is the full version of sun breathing through the world and the pattern awakening method. A prompt box suddenly popped up in the minds of everyone in the world. All the ghosts in the Demon Slayer world are confused. What is going on? The members of the Demon Slayer squad and those pillars all had happy faces and ran towards the butterfly house. In the butterfly house, Tanjiro's mind suddenly appeared with the breath of the sun that penetrates the world and the pattern awakening method. After a few minutes of confusion, Tanjiro's face showed a surprised smile. These are what they need urgently now. As long as they master these, they will have the capital to deal with Wume. At the same time, the faces of all the lower string ghosts and even the upper string ghosts who were arranged by Demon Dance Tsuji Musen to kill Kamado Tanjiro froze. Grass. The breath of the sun plus the transparent world plus markings. Isn't this another example of Jigyo Yuanyi? Make a fool of yourself. As a reward, the top 9 Aizen Sosuke in the first phase of the Heavenly Characters Inventory has perfectly mastered the method of Bengaiwa, without being restricted by Bengaiwa. Ding, if you detect an abnormal situation, I will reward Ichigo Kurosaka with 10 final Getsuga Tensho experience cards. Aizen sitting on the throne thought of a way to perfectly master Bengaiwa, while 10 cards appeared in Kurosaki Ichigo's body. Ulquiorra and Dongxian, who were about to leave for the present world, froze, and the corners of their eyes began to beat wildly. Depend on. Who can withstand this? On the other side, everyone in the world was a little confused when they heard the voice in their heads. Can you still get rewards if you are selected as a character for the inventory? And if a person dies, can the heir inherit the reward? This is too deceptive. Ichigo Kurosaki is in a shrimp situation again? Is there any reward for this product? Many people, after a brief period of confusion, began to come to their senses and were sometimes filled with disappointment. After all, this is a reward that can only be obtained by those strong ones who can be counted. Their strength is too humble, how can they be on the list? After Kokoniki is gifted and has suppressed the Ghost King for decades, and Sosuke Aizen is so powerful and intelligent, what kind of character will the 8th one be? Many people are beginning to guess what the next characters will be like. And some people are inspired by Enikitsu Kuni, Aizen, and Kurosaki Ichigo, and begin to make such sounds while practicing hard. What do you think of life? I will stand in the sky. Let me show you, this is the final crescent moon celestial opposition. Many people in the world of heavens are talking excitedly, and many passionate young people have begun to imitate a few people, starting their unbearable middle school life. On the other side, in the Marvel world, located in the Aegis at the headquarters of the Bureau, Captain America said with some melancholy, there are definitely no heroes in our world who can compete with this world inventory video. Monster-like existences like Sosuke Aizen are not in the same dimension as us at all. Banner nodded, unlike Tsukuni, Sosuke Aizen is really a monster. Not only is he powerful, but he also plays tricks on everyone. Beside the table, Thor raised his brows and stood up. I, Thor, the god of thunder, am not worthy of being in the position? I am just a mere existence comparable to a god. Although I am very powerful, I am not without the strength to fight. The people around were stunned, and then laughed in unison. Hawkeye smiled and nodded. Yes, yes, Thor, you will definitely be able to defeat Aizen. Captain America leaned on the chair with a smile on his face. It's almost overflowing. Thor, the god of thunder, took out Mjolnir angrily. Hey, what do you mean? Don't you believe in my strength? Do you want to compete to see who is stronger? As soon as he finished speaking, a video cover of the characters was bombarded with everyone's attention. In my mind, the pupils of the heroes present shrank violently at this moment. Damn it! This is Tony. In the picture, Iron Man Tony Stark is wearing a familiar red armor. He is in a mess, and his head is stained with blood. However, There is no trace of panic on his face, but a firm look on his face. The right hand is raised high and making a finger-snapping motion. It is located in the middle of the palm. 6 radiant gems are inlaid on the glove. Taking stock of the people in the world, starting with the fate of the country. Author, Red Lotus. Chapter 20. Top 8 of the first issue of the inventory of characters from all over the world, comparing with gods in a mortal body, Iron Man. Top 8, Iron Man, the most charming and decent hero in the Marvel world, was born with wealth that rivals other countries. The superhero Iron Man combines talent, money, status, strength, and charm. Even if he encounters all kinds of hardships, he remains strong. Fighting against the enemy, a man who seems to have everything, but has nothing, a man of flesh and blood, a heart of steel, a mortal, fighting against gods and saving the world. Evaluation, comparing with gods with a mortal body. Iron Man. As soon as the subtitles came out, the world was in an uproar again. They were extremely interested in the man wearing a red armor in the original picture. Some people in the low martial arts world were even fanatical. What does mortal body mean? What this means is that the protagonist of this issue is an ordinary human being, and an ordinary human being can actually be on the list of characters in the heavens. Doesn't this mean that people in the low-level world of martial arts are extremely likely to be on the list, even if they can't be on the list? You can also see how this mortal became comparable to a god. However, unlike people in the low martial world, some beings in the high martial world were attracted by the Infinity Stones in the original Iron Man screen. What are those gems? Why does it give me a dangerous feeling? In the world of Dragon Ball, Frieza fell into deep thought. Those gems are good things. I'm afraid even compared to Bengaiwa, it's not much different. In the world of death, Aizen, who has completely mastered Bengaiwa, has a shocked look on his face. It goes without saying how powerful Bengaiwa is, but the terrifying energy contained in those gems poses a threat to Aizen, who has mastered Bengaiwa. Feel. The power of those gems even surpasses my own. What are they? In the world of Xingyu, Gilgamesh's eyes widened and he was thinking incredulously. In the fantasy world, in the Dochi continent, Dologo world, 1 leaf covers the sky, 9 heavens and 10 earths, etc., countless powerful powers have opened. His eyes were fixed on the few gems in the picture, with a look of greed in his eyes. In the Marvel world, all the superheroes and even ordinary people were also staring blankly at this scene. Who is Iron Man? Of course they know. That is one of the superheroes, but Iron Man's strength is neither too strong nor too weak among them. Why is Iron Man on the list? Can this list still be there? Spending money? In the Avengers, the pupils of Thor, Hawkeye, Banner, and Captain were so wide that their mouths could be filled with several eggs. Tony. That's an Infinity Stone in his hand. Deep in the starry sky, inside the Thanos Legion battleship. Wearing golden armor and purple skin, Thanos's eyes widened, his whole body began to shake, and he looked at the palm of Iron Man in the picture in disbelief. No, infinite gems. In the screen, lines of subtitles introduce the worldview in the Marvel world. After a while, the subtitles receded and the picture began to emerge. A blue planet appeared, and then the picture changed. A prosperous and beautiful city appeared in everyone's eyes. Then in a hospital, a child was born. Then the picture continued to change, and the child gradually grew up. At the bottom of the screen, a line of subtitles introduces the experience of Iron Man Tony Stark. Tony Stark was born on an island in Country M. He made a circuit board at the age of 4, built his first engine at the age of 6, and graduated with the highest honors from the world's top school at the age of 17. After his father passed away, Tony turned back when he was 21 and returned to the company to become the new president of the company his father left behind. Holding the supreme power of the weapons empire, Tony has led his father's legacy into a new era and developed smart weapons, high-end robots, and satellite positioning strike technology. Today, Tony Stark has created a new pattern in the weapons industry. He defends freedom of the country and safeguard the country's global interests. The scene turned, Tony Stark took a plane to the military base of Country M, and showed off the latest weapons newly developed by his company. In the sound of Tony's words, a missile took off and then fell into the mountain in the distance. Boom! A huge roar resounded through the sky. The terrifying explosion destroyed everything around the mountain, and endless hurricanes swept out. Even if they were dozens of miles away, the aftermath hit everyone's eyes. Tony then signed a $500 million order with Country M. What the hell is this? It's so powerful. Mud Horse, I finally know where that armor came from. Rich, beautiful, and powerful, I love it. Iron Man? So my father, the hero Guojing, is also expected to be on the list. Sorry, I have been hiding it for so many years, but my name is actually the Condor Hero. Do you believe in light? I believe. Gaia. In the screen, many barrages passed by, but compared with the previous ones, there were very few slanderous barrages. After all, after watching the first two videos, everyone has a lot more understanding of the world of the heavens, and when the worldview was introduced earlier, many people were shocked and dumbfounded. Even some people in the world of high martial arts had solemn faces. The screen continued to play. After showing off the new weapons, Tony sat in a military vehicle and was talking with the vehicle. Several soldiers in camouflage uniforms were joking. The next moment, boom! Countless bullets bombarded the entire vehicle. The soldiers in the vehicle got out of the car to meet the enemy. However, they could not withstand the huge firepower and all the soldiers were massacred. Once empty, even Tony was seriously injured and taken hostage. Later, the seriously injured Tony was transplanted with a nuclear-powered artificial heart by Dr. Inson to survive. The group of people who held Tony hostage asked Tony to help them build a new type of missile in order to find a way to escape. Tony could only superficially agree to them. On the other side, from the materials provided by the terrorists, Tony and Yingson extracted some useful substances from the materials, built a small nuclear reactor, and replaced the artificial heart on his chest. After that, under the surveillance of the terrorists and others, Tony and Yingson made a suit of armor, and Tony put it on. Tony, who put on the armor, was invincible, slaughtered all the terrorists, and destroyed all the bombs. It's just that Dr. Inson was killed for various reasons. Tony, who fled there, was found by the army. Tony, who returned to the country, publicly announced the closure of the Offensive Weapons Research and Development Department and stopped producing weapons. Tony, who no longer produced weapons, returned home. Because he had nothing to do, he built a new nuclear reactor, and then began to make the first Iron Man suit. After experiencing repeated failures, the second-generation Iron Man suit was finally completed. Wearing the suit, Tony was like a god descending to Earth, flying wantonly in the sky. Violent sonic booms exploded all around him, the sound of the air being torn apart kept ringing in his ears, and the clouds in the sky kept rising around him. Going back, the laws of physics have no restrictions on his unique armor. His posture, which is like a true god and is not bound by the laws of nature, shocked most people in the world at this moment. And this scene fell into in the eyes of ordinary people in the world of low martial arts, they even kneel down and call God.